Hello students, good evening everyone. So students, let us begin with the second part of the 6th chapter of science, that is of class 5th, and the name of the chapter is Animals, Habitat and Adaptation. In the previous class we studied about the habitats of the animals, about the different habitats of the animals, and today we will continue with the adaptation, how the animals got adapted to their habitats. So let us see to the contents. What are the contents related with this adaptation? So students, the contents of the second part, that is adaptation, today we will study about the adaptation of the animals with their habitats. How the animals got adapted with their habitats. What are the different topics on it that we will study today? The first of all, we will study about that the body coverings. The body coverings of the animal, then organs for breathing. What are the different organs of different animals which helps them to breathe? Then organs for movement. What are the different organs of the animals that helps them to move from one place to another? Then eating habits. What are the different eating habits of animals in the different habitat? Since they are living in the different habitat, yes or no? Some they live in the forest, some in the desert, some in the ocean, some in the polar region, mountains, fresh water. So they acquire different eating habits, and along with their body structure, the body coverings, how do they breathe, how do they move, everything differs from each other. So today we will begin with the adaptation. Let us start with adaptation first. So now students, let us begin with adaptation. Now what do you mean by adaptation? See, I'll give you an example. Suppose we live in our home, right? There is a way of eating in our home or not? The eating habits of our is different from the people who lives in different state. Yes, we have got different eating habits, and the people living in the different states have got different eating habits, and they adapt themselves according to the places where they live, where they are habitual of living. They also eat the food whatever they get in the particular state they are habitual of eating. Suppose here in Rajasthan we are habitual of eating the chapatis, yes or no? But when you move to the northern side of the state, you will find that most of the people are habitual of eating rice. That is one example of adaptation according to the places of the habitat. Understood? So now what is adaptation? It is changes in the feature or behavior of an organism that help it to survive in its habitat is called adaptation. Now what is adaptation? It is actually the changes in feature. Feature means the body structure, whatever it may be, of any animal. And behavior of an organism, how an animal behave according to the habitat, which helps them to survive in a particular habitat. That is called as adaptation. Adapting oneself it means that one is being able to survive in a particular habitat. That is called as adaptation. Understood? Then different types of animals shows different type of adaptation. Now why do this happens? Why do different types of animals shows different types of adaptation? Because different types of animals lives in different types of habitat. That is why they show different types of adaptation. Now for example, if you bring an animal from the cold region to the hot desert, will it be able to survive? No. That particular animal will not be able to withstand. That particular animal will not be able to bear the heat of the desert because they are not habitual of living in the hot climate. They have always been living in the cold climate. So they are not habitual of living in the hot climate. So they will not adapt themselves in the hot region. And if you take an animal from a hot region to the cold region, they will not be able to survive there. Why? Because they do not have the habit of living in the cold region. Their food habits will differ. Okay, their features will differ. Understood? So that is why different types of animals shows different type of adaptation according to their habitats in which they live. Okay. Then it may be in their body coverings, their organs of breathing, their way of movement, or their eating habits. I already told you, it may be in their body coverings. Different animals have got their different body structure or body coverings. Okay, their organs of breathing may be different. Then their way of movement may be different, and their eating habits may be different. That is why different types of animals shows different type of adaptation according to the different habitat. I hope you understood this. Now let us move to the next topic. And now students, let us study about the body coverings. How do the different animals adapt themselves to their habitat according to their body coverings? Now what is body covering? An animal's body covering help it to live in a particular habitat. Body covering means it can be skin, it can be fur, it can be feathers. Those are the body coverings of an animal. We are human beings. Our body is covered with what? With the skin. Yes or no? And we cover our body with what? We cover our body with clothes. Our body is made up of skin. Yes or no? And what do we cover our body with? We cover our body with clothes. So in the same way, different animals have got different body coverings according to their habitat so that they can adapt themselves in the particular environment or habitat. Okay? Different animal has got different body covering according to the habitat where they dwell. The meaning of dwell, D-W-E-L-L, it is written in the slide. You can see the meaning of dwell is to live, where they live, where they survive. The meaning of dwell is to live. Okay? Different animal has got different body coverings according to the habitat where they dwell or live. Understood? Then for example, see, bodies of snakes, crocodile and fishes are covered with scales. What are the body coverings of such animals? Snakes, crocodiles and fishes, their body is covered with scales. Okay? Then the bodies of birds are covered with feathers. You have seen bird, right? Their body is covered with what? Their body is covered with feathers. Then body of bear is covered with fur, thick hair. Those are called as fur. The body of a bear, it is covered with fur. Understood? Then tortoise and snail have shell. Have you seen a tortoise and snail? They have got a shell on their body or not? They cover themselves into the shell whenever they find any kind of danger coming towards them, or if they want to protect themselves from heat, cold, rain, they protect themselves inside the shell. So this shell is the body covering. Like we protect ourselves from heat, cold and rain wearing clothes, different types of clothes in different weathers. These animals also, they have got different body coverings so that they can protect themselves according to the habitat and environment. Okay, and beetles have a hard outer covering called as cuticle. These are the different body coverings of different animals. Understood? Like snakes, crocodile and fishes, their body is covered with scales. Then bodies of birds is covered with feathers. Then body of bear is covered with fur. Tortoise and snail have a shell, and beetles, they have a hard outer covering that is called as cuticle. C-U-T-I-C-L-E, that is cuticle. Understood? This is about the body covering. How it helps to adapt a particular animal in its habitat. Understood? So now students, let us study about scales. The different body coverings. First we will study about scales. What are scales? These are the outer body covering of the animals, fishes and reptiles. The snakes, the crocodiles, the lizards, these are considered to be as reptiles. They are called as reptiles. Okay. These scales are the outer body covering of the animals like fishes, snakes, crocodile, lizards, etc. The reptiles, they are called as reptiles. They crawl into their four legs. That is why they are called as reptiles. Understood? Snake also they crawl in the grass or in the land. Yes or no? So these animals are called as reptiles who crawl. Okay? Fishes are covered with a layer of flexible overlapping scales. That is why fishes can swim in the water. Their body is covered with scales. The flexible layer of scales. Understood? That the bodies of reptiles such as snakes, crocodiles and lizards too covered with scales. The body of snakes, crocodiles and lizards are also covered with scales so that it helps them in the movement. Most reptiles have horny scales that prevent loss of water from their bodies, and most of the reptiles, they have got horny scales in their body. Their body is covered with the horny scales so that this horny scale help them to prevent loss of water from their body. That means the water does not get excreted from the body, so that the water does not get excreted from their body. Some reptiles have got horny scales in their body. Okay, and snakes also shed their skin periodically, which is replaced by a new one. And you know what? Snakes, lizards and some insects, they shed their skin. They shed their skin from their body, and those skin are again replaced by a new one. Understood? And now students, let us study about shell. What is shell? Shell, it is the outer body covering of animals such as snail, tortoise and turtles. Okay? These are the outer covering which protects the body of the animals of snails, tortoise and turtle. Understood? The shell protect these animals when they sense any danger and withdraw their head and feet into the shell. Now how do this shell protect them? Their body. Whenever these animals sense any kind of danger towards themselves, they withdraw their body inside the shell. Okay, they withdraw their body inside the shell. That means they take their body inside into the shell so that they get protected from any kind of danger. Understood? And this body shell not only protect them from the danger, but it also protect them from the heat, from the cold, rain. Okay? So this shell is the outer body covering of animals such as snail, tortoise and turtle, which protect them from the different types of danger that they sense, and also with the different weather, according to the different weather. Understood? Now, what is wool and fur? Wool and fur are also the body coverings of animals such as mammals. Now, what are mammals? Mammals are those animals which give birth to the young ones and which secretes milk. These mammals are animals which secretes milk. The female mammals secretes milk. Understood? Their body is covered with hairs. The animals which comes under the mammal, their body is covered with hairs, and the female mammals can secrete milk to their young ones to feed their young ones. Understood? Mammals such as the sheep and the bear have special body covering which protect them from rain and cold. Have you seen bear and sheep? Their body is covered with fur. Yes or no? The body of sheep is covered with wool and the body of bear is covered with fur. That means with thick hairs, with thick outer body covering, that is hairs, so that it protects them from the different climate of the habitat. In which habitat they are living, they protect them from the climate, from rain and cold. Understood? Then what are feathers? Birds have feathers as their body covering. What are the body covering of birds? The body covering of the birds are called as feathers. Okay, they protect their body from this body covering, that is called as feathers. Understood? Feathers help them to fly and also protect from the heat and the cold of the weather. They help them to fly also, and they also protect their body from the heat and cold. Understood? Now students, what do you mean by molting? I already told you or not? That like the reptiles such as snakes, lizards, they shed off their skin periodically and that skin is replaced by a new one. Yes or no? So that process is called as molting. That means shedding of skin, hair or feather to acquire a new one is called molting. M-O-U-L-T-I-N-G, molting. It is the shedding of skin, the skin, hair and feathers which has grown old. They shed those skin, feathers and hair from their body. In place of that, the new one grows. That process is called as molting. Animals such as snakes and lizards shed their skin to acquire a new one. Can you see the picture? The snakes and the lizard, they shed their skin, so that in place of that skin, a new skin will grow on their body. That process is called as molting. Okay? And now students, what do you mean by camouflage? C-A-M-O-U-F-L-A-G-E, camouflage. It means that these camouflage are the body coverings of some animals to match their surrounding. Body covering of some animals which match their surroundings. This mechanism is called as camouflage. There are some animals who can adapt themselves in the surrounding by changing their body color. There are some animals who can adapt themselves into a habitat by changing their body color. And why do they change their body color? So that it makes the animal hard to spot and protect it from enemies, so that they can be protected from their enemies or something that is going to harm them. So that they can protect themselves, they change their body color and accordingly they adapt themselves to that particular habitat. For example, some animals like chameleon can even change their body color to match the surrounding. You can see the picture. Chameleon is an animal which can change its body color according to its surrounding, so that they can protect themselves from the danger or the enemies around them. Okay? So now students, let us study about the organs for breathing. Different animals have got different organs for breathing. Why? Because different animals have got their different habitat. Some they live in water, some they live in land, some are small animals, yes or no? Like animals who live in water have got their different breathing sense. Then animals who live on land have got their different breathing sense organ. Yes or no? Then animals who live in the insects, they have got different breathing organs. Understood? So different types of animals have got different organs for breathing. See, human beings and sheep. Human beings and sheep are considered to be as mammals and we live on the land. Our habitat is land. Yes or no? Breathe through their nose. We breathe through our nose. From the nose, the air is carried to special organ called as lungs. The air that we breathe, where do it reach? it reaches to our lungs. Yes or no? Then fishes have special structure called gills through which they breathe. And fishes, they have got gills. Okay? So that they can breathe inside the water. Understood? Then frogs and earthworms, they breathe with their moist skin. How do they breathe? The frogs and earthworms, they breathe through their moist skin. They breathe through their skin. You have seen frogs and earthworms, right? Their skin is always watery. Their skin is always moist. They breathe with their moist skin. Understood? Frogs also breathe through lungs when on land. This frog is an animal. When it lives inside the water, it breathes through their skin, and when it lives on the land, it breathes with its it breathes with its lungs. Understood? Then insects such as grasshoppers and cockroaches breathe with the help of a series of tiny holes along the sides of their body, which are called as spiracles. And the breathing organ of insects such as grasshoppers and cockroaches, they have got a special breathing organ that is called as spiracles, which is situated along the sides of their body. These are the tiny holes which is situated along the sides of their bodies. These are called as spiracles. So these are the special organs of different animals which help them in breathing to adapt themselves in the different habitat. Understood? And now students, organs for movement. As the animals have got different breathing organs, the different animals have also got different organs of movement according to their habitat. Understood? According to their habitat, different animals have got different organs for movement also. See, animals move from one place to another for food, water and shelter. Why do animals move from one place to another? They move from one place to another in search of food, water and shelter. Okay. They also need to escape from enemies, and if they find any danger in a particular habitat, they change their place from that particular habitat to different place so that they can protect themselves from the danger or the enemies. Okay? Then different animals have different organs for movement. Different animals have got different body organs for their movement. Okay? Animals such as horses, cows, dogs and cats move with the help of their four limbs. Yes or no? You have seen horse, cow, dog, cats. How many legs do they have? They have got four legs. Those are called as limbs. The legs by which they move, they are also called as limbs. Understood? Two front limbs are called forelimbs and back limbs are called as hind limbs. The front limbs, the front legs of the animals such as horse, cows, dogs and cats, those are called as what? Forelimbs. And the legs or the limbs, the back legs or the limbs, they are called as hind limbs. So with the help of these four limbs, they move from one place to another. Understood? And students, we human beings, we also have got four limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs. Yes or no? 2 hands and 2 legs. The hands, human beings walk upright with the help of their 2 legs or lower limbs. The legs are known as the lower limbs, okay, and their upper limbs are called as arms. We also have got 4 limbs. Our 2 hands and 2 legs are the limbs. The lower part is called the lower limb or the legs, and the upper limb is called as arms. But we walk with only our legs. We do not walk with our hand. We use hand only for eating, writing, such purposes we use our hand. But animals, they move with their 4 limbs. They do not write, they do not eat with the limbs, yes or no? But we human beings, We have got 4 limbs, but we use only 2 lower limbs, that is called as leg, for the movement. Okay? The skeletal system made up of bones and the muscular system help in all kinds of movement in a human body. And the skeletal system, our skeletal system is made up of bones and muscles, which helps in the movement of our body. Okay, we human beings, we have got bones and muscles in our body which help us to move from one place to another. Understood? And in birds the 4 limbs are modified into wings which help them to fly. Birds also have got 4 limbs. 2 limbs are their legs and the 2 limbs are their wings, the feathers, which help them to fly. And when they want to sit or stand in a particular tree or branch, they sit with the help of their lower limbs, that is the legs. And when they want to fly, they use their wings. They flap their wings to fly. Yes or no? Birds also have hollow bones with furs which helps them in flying. You may have seen there are bones also in the furs which help them in flying. Okay? Then snakes do not have limbs. The animals such as snakes which crawl on the land, they do not have limbs. But lizards and crocodiles, they have got limbs. Yes or no? 4 limbs. The 4 limbs and the hind limbs with a tail. Yes or no? But snakes do not have limbs. They move with the help of scales that is present on the underside of their body. They move, they crawl with the help of the scales that is present on the underside of their body. So this is the movement, this is the organs for movement of different animals according to their different habitats. Okay? And fishes, and students see frogs hop around using their strong and long hind limbs. Frogs also have got 4 limbs. The front limbs and the back limbs, the 4 limbs and the hind limbs. They use their hind limbs to hop. That means to jump. They also have webbed feet which help them to swim. And their feet are webbed which help them to swim inside the water. Okay. Then fish, dolphins and whales have special structure on their body called fins which help them to swim. And how do fish, dolphins, whales, how do they move inside the water from one place to another? They move with the help of fins. Okay? Then fin-like structure in penguins and seals are called as flippers. You can see in the picture, those are the fin lines. Those are the fin-line structure in penguins and seals which are called as flippers. They move with the help of these flippers, the fin-line structure, like the wings, the small wings or the small limbs. Can you see? They move with the help of these flippers from one place to another. So these are the different organs of the different animals according to their habitat. Understood? And now comes student the different eating habits of the animals. What are the different eating habits of the animals? See, the different animals have different food habits. Yes or no? Different animals will have, of course, different food habits. Yes or no? Then their teeth are modified to suit the food they eat. And if they have got the different eating habits, the main thing inside our mouth through which we can chew is our teeth. So different animals will have different types of teeth, modified teeth which will suit the food they eat. Understood? Based on the type of food they eat, animal can be grouped as herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. The animals can be grouped into 3 categories to adapt into the habitat in which they live. Those are the herbivores animals, the carnivores and the omnivores. First we will study about herbivores. What are herbivores? These animals that eat only plant and plant product are called as herbivores. Herbivores are animals which eat only plant and plant product are called as herbivores. These animals have a thick pad. These animals have a thick pad which is called as the dental pad. In the upper jaw, in the upper part of the mouth, they have got a thick pad which is also called as the dental pad in the upper jaw. Okay, through which, and the sharp incisors in the lower jaw which help them to hold and pull out grasses and leaves from the trees. Understood? They have got thick pad in the upper jaw which is called as the dental pad, and the sharp incisors in the lower jaw which help them to pull and hold the grasses and leaves from the trees. Okay, the broad premolars and molars help them to grind and chew the grass. The inner teeth, which are called as molars and premolars, they have strong and broad molars and premolars which help them to chew the food which they eat properly. Okay, then rodents such as squirrels, rabbits and rats, they have got sharp front teeth. They have got sharp front teeth. Have you seen a rabbit? They have got sharp front teeth, yes or no? The rat, the squirrels, the rabbits, these are called as rodents. They have got the sharp front teeth so that they can gnaw the nuts and seeds of the fruits. Gnaw means so that they can bite little. That is called as gnawing. K-G-N-A-W-I-N-G, gnawing. Okay, so this is the eating habits of herbivores, which eats only plants and animals, and they have got the modified teeth structure so that they can adapt themselves with the different food habits. Okay, students, what are carnivores? Carnivores are called as flesh-eating animals. The flesh-eating animals are called as carnivores. For example, lion, tigers and wolves. Okay, they need to attack the prey and tear their flesh. They have got a different eating habit. That means they hunt animals and they kill them and they eat animals. They hunt the herbivores, the lower class of animals. They hunt them and they eat them. So they need to hunt and they need to attack the prey for their food. Their teeth structure is also different from the herbivore. They therefore have sharp canines. The sharp teeth, these are very sharp so that they can tear the flesh, and strong jaws to crush the flesh and the bones. The molars and premolars are very strong in their mouth so that they can chew the food and they can crush the bones of the animals. Flesh-eating birds such as eagles and vultures have sharp and hooked beaks that can tear the flesh of small animals. The flesh-eating birds like eagles and vultures, okay, they have got sharp hooked beaks. The beaks of these birds are very sharp and hooked, very sharp like a needle, so that they can tear the flesh of the animals. Understood? And the next one is omnivores. Omnivores are animals which eat both plants as well as the flesh of other animals. We human beings are also considered to be as omnivores because we also eat vegetables as well as we also eat the flesh of other animals like chickens, hen, yes or no? Fish, some animals, some humans are there, those are considered to be as vegetarian and non-vegetarian, yes or no? So we are also considered to be as omnivores. Okay, human beings and bears are omnivores. The bears are also omnivores. They also eat plants as well as they also eat the flesh of other animals. Understood? They have well developed canines for tearing flesh as well as broad and flat molars for crushing vegetable matter. We have canines for tearing the flesh and also well developed molars and premolars to crush the food that we eat. Okay, so students, this is all about the different eating habits of animals, different eating habits of different animals according to their habitat. Understood? So students, that is all for this second part of this chapter, that is adaptation. I will just revise the chapter once again from the beginning. What did we study? First of all, we studied about the adaptation. Now what is adaptation? It is the changes in the feature or behavior of an organism that help to survive in habitat. Adaptation means it is the changes in the feature or behavior of an animal which help them to survive in the habitat in which they are living. That is called as adaptation. And different animals have got different adaptation according to their environment. Okay? And it may be in their body coverings, their organ of breathing, the way of movement and their eating habits. Now what was the body covering? Different animals have got different body coverings such as scales, then wool, fur, yes or no, then shell. These are the different body coverings of the animal which help them to live in a particular habitat. Okay, and different animals have got different body coverings according to the habitat where they dwell or where they live. Okay, then what is molting? Molting is the process of shedding of skin, hair or feather to acquire a new one. That is called as molting. And animals like lizards, snakes, they shed their skin to acquire a new one. And what is camouflage? It is the body covering of animal which matches the surroundings so that they can protect themselves from the danger or enemies. Okay, this process is called as camouflage. Animals such as chameleon, they change their body color to match the surrounding. Okay, then organs of breathing. Different animals have got different organs for breathing. For example, human beings have got nose, then fishes, they have gills, frogs and earthworm, they breathe with their moist skin, and the insects, they have got the special organ that is called as the spiracles. Then different animals also adapt themselves according to their movement. They have got different body structure and different organs to move from one place to another. Okay, animals like horses, cows, dogs, cats, they move with the help of their limbs. There are 4 limbs in their body. The front limbs are called as forelimbs and the back limbs are called as hind limbs, through which they can move from one place to another. And we humans, we move with the help of our legs. We have got 4 limbs, but the upper limb is called as arms and the lower limbs are called as legs. Okay, and in birds, they move with the help of feather. They fly with the help of their wings. Okay, and they walk with the help of their legs. Understood? And snakes, they crawl, they move from one place to another with the help of the scales that is present on the underside of their body. Okay, and the animal like frog, they hop around using their strong and long hind limbs and the webbed feet which help them to swim inside the water. And the animals like fishes, dolphins and whales, they have got special body structure which are called as fins. And the animals like penguin and seals, they have got flippers through which they can move from one place to another. Okay, and animals also adapt themselves to a habitat with different eating habits. And according to their different eating habits, animals are divided into 3 categories, which are herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Herbivores are animals which eat only plants and plants products. Carnivores are animals which eat only the flesh of other animals, and omnivores are animals which eat both plants as well as flesh of other animals. Okay, so students, I hope you have understood this chapter. This is all about this chapter. Okay, and in the next class I will start with the new topic. Till then, take care of yourself and thanks for watching the video. See you in the next class.